Okay, wait. Oh. Yeah. Okay, Councilman Morrick, the mayor is here.
8:30.
Okay, sounds good.
Just text.
Morning.
Morning.
Hey, Rick.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. All right, I'd like to call the special called meeting of Milton City Council for Monday, August 28, 2017 to order. Sudi, if you'll please call roll and make any general announcements.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'll be happy to call roll for the August 28, 2017 special called meeting. I will waive the reading of the rules and general announcements, but I would like to remind those in attendance to please silence all cell phones at this time. As I call roll, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Joe Lockwood.
Here.
Councilmember Matt Kuntz.
Here.
Councilmember Bill Lusk.
Here.
Councilmember Bert Hewitt.
Here.
Councilmember Joe Longoria.
Here.
Councilmember Rick Morrick is calling in
Here.
from Caledonia, Michigan. And for the record, Councilmember Karen Thurman is absent. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. The special call meeting. First item would be approval of the agenda. Sudi, if you'll please call that out.
Our first item is the approval of the meeting agenda, agenda item number 17222.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, I have a motion for Councilmember Hewitt, second from Councilmember Kuntz for approval of the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that's Rick, I'm assuming that was aye for approval.
That was aye, yes.
Okay, so that's unanimous. Okay, do we have any public comment, Sudi?
We do not, sir.
Okay, we'll move on then to call the agenda item.
The agenda item this morning is consideration of a resolution of the Milton City Council reopening and extending the qualifying period for District 3, Post 1, agenda item number 17223. Mr. Ken Gerard.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you have in front of you a resolution that I prepared actually Friday afternoon that embodies Georgia law with respect to what occurs if there is a district post for which the qualifying period has expired and there has been no candidate that has paid the requisite fee or otherwise made appropriate tender of an application to run for that post. And that is, and if I can, the post is District 3, Post 1. The qualifying period, the regular and ordinary qualifying period, has in fact expired. And what the code provision says is that in any case in which no individual has filed a notice of candidacy and paid the prescribed qualifying fee to fill a particular office in a nonpartisan municipal election, the governing authority of the municipality, which is you, shall be authorized to reopen qualifying for candidates at 9 a.m. on the Monday next following the close of the preceding qualifying period and cease such qualifying at 5 p.m. on the Tuesday immediately following such Monday, notwithstanding the fact that such days may be legal holidays. Mr. Mayor and the council, I was tasked to interpret that. The situation doesn't come up that often, but I do believe the governing authority of the municipality is the city council. I do believe this statute should be adhered to. I believe we are. The best practice would be to open this up for an additional 2 days of qualifying that would candidly begin in about 24 minutes, and it would run until Tuesday, meaning tomorrow at 5 p.m. However, to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed, I did request that the council meet this morning at 8:30 and authorize the reopening of this qualifying period for this additional 2-day stretch. Mr. Mayor, if the council has an interest in doing this, and candidly I hope that you do, it will simply take a motion and vote to adopt this resolution.
Is there any questions on this for Ken? Okay, then I'll open up for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 17-223.
Councilman,
No order. I
just want to make sure everybody understands I'm not going to vote on this.
Mr. Mayor, actually, I want to mention that as well. We have a motion, though, Mr. Mayor. Do you want to get a second first before I say anything?
Okay, do I have a second? I'll make a second.
I just want to,
Second.
forgive me,
Have a
I think,
third, right?
yeah. I just want to mention that I have advised Councilmember Longoria that I thought a recusal was appropriate given the relationship between what you're doing and his post. Thank you.
Makes sense. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Sudi, any discussion?
Yeah, I have some comments to make. And I would like to make them if the council is willing to let Joe Longoria speak first on this issue. So I know he's not supposed to speak, but can he speak on anything?
I can't speak on this item. I will be happy to give my comments after the vote is taken.
Okay. Well, if that's the case from this perspective, being a councilman is not an easy position. We all know this. And it takes effort. It takes passion. And we might always agree. We may not always agree on our policies. But I believe that America right now is going through a cultural war right now. And there's a lot of things that happen. And some of us think it's okay for the means to justify the end so long as you win. Others try to follow principles in order to do things. And, when I came on this council, I made a conscious decision to serve the electorate who voted for me, to defend the 2030 Comprehensive Plan, to lead the city on an issue with everything I campaigned on. For example, it was trying to get our tackle youth football program at Bell Memorial Park with several different rectangular fields. We did that. It was building this city hall right here we all sit in. We did that. We had moved from Deerfield in order to come over here. We did that. We had Providence Park. I went down there to do that because thanks to Mayor Lockwood asking to do that. We did that. But we've all sacrificed a lot of things here, and I know I've sacrificed plenty on this to give effort on behalf of the citizens of Milton. And from anything I've ever done, I've given passion. But I don't think there's any excuse for people to not give effort as a city councilman in this position. I am ticked on this perspective that we have to be here because, and I know things happen, but we can always make arrangements in order to follow through. Sudi does a great job in order to make sure that we have this done. And I come here on this end day in and day out to fight for the very promises I made. I get attacked by people in the audience for being here and giving effort. I see people that don't give effort, and now they want us to make amends from an entitlement issue. This is not about entitlement. We've got police officers fighting hard in our city to keep our people safe. We've got fire departments doing what they can to keep our people safe. And they expect us as a council to do our job to make sure we show up, because they show up every single day. But if we don't show up here, then what are we supposed to do? That's the thing. And sometimes, because of the quest for power and people who don't like me for political positions, they decide they take the liberty to sit behind a keyboard and attack people without having the courage to even run themselves. And they want to libel and slander, and they may get away with it from a First Amendment right. But the bad part is other people don't defend it when something's going wrong from a cultural issue because of entitlement. I work as a city councilman. Can anybody here deny that I work? That's the thing. We, as a council, have a standard to work, to show up, to do the things we need to do. And this right now, I believe the citizens of Milton deserve better. I believe that we all deserve better. This is hard. These are those discussions you have in a locker room that aren't always easy. And everybody wants to sit there and say, oh, it's okay, let's all get along. Well, you know what? We have honest debate here. But when it comes down to where the ends justify the means, and you can do what you want to do in order to be able to win, without with regards to how you're going to govern when you actually have to sit there, we need to show up. This is a cultural decision, a cultural discussion. I want people that have passion who want to show up. I don't want to vote for someone that had a week to come here and doesn't show up. You can make arrangements. Sudi, you can make arrangements for people, can you not?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. And everybody, but to wait until the last minute, just because it's something we've always done. And then run the risk of not doing the service. And we have police officers, if they don't show up until the last minute, they can lose their lives or their job. And they look to us as an example to do this stuff. And yet we have people out there that are willing to say whatever they want to say for the sake of what? Libel, slander someone's character because they don't have the credit to argue on the issues themselves. I always know I'm on the right side of an issue when someone was willing to attack someone's character rather than argue the issue. That's the way it goes. I got people attacking me for ethics violations, yet I show up.
Okay, I think
Have I made my point?
you made your point, Councilmember Coons.
I'm going to say this real quick. I can't vote for this. On principle, I can't vote for this. It pains me, Joe, I can't vote for this. You can't speak. It pains me. It pains me because I think the people of Milton deserves better. I think they deserve people that show up on time, people that work, people that come to meetings. And there's too much lackadaisicalness right here out of all the celebrations that we've done, and yet we've got challenges ahead of us with other cities that are still doing what they can to beat us. Dollars always go where they want to go, whether or not we think we're right. I know I'm making my point. I know this is hard. If I do something wrong and it's justified, come after me. But it's got to be justified.
Okay, Councilmember Coons, I think you made your point. Thank you.
I hope I have.
All right. Bill?
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mayor. About a month ago, Councilwoman Thurman was called to task about a redistricting issue that happened a couple years ago, and which was a perfectly legal, transparent action on her part and on the city part. Everyone here on the dais was involved in that decision. And regardless, she was vilified and ostracized on social media for what she did. And I say again, we all here were party to that decision. And nevertheless, there are people out here in our community that chose to drag her through the gutter in her state of health and put her down. Probably the most active, dedicated, committed council person this city has known with over 25 years of service with the city and with the county. And we were charged with bending the rules to accommodate her. Well, what we have now is another situation. The city of Alpharetta, right next to us, 5 miles down the road, has a qualifying period of 3 days. Other jurisdictions have similar qualifying periods. Milton is almost the exception of having 5 full calendar days, working days, to qualify. And it's unfortunate that not every position was filled. Now, at this point in time, we're asked to, once again, or maybe this is the difference here. We're asked to bend the rules, again, supposedly, to accommodate. And in the interests of fair, open, honest, and competent government, I can't see how we could stand this review in making an exception. But I'm sure the same folks out there who have vilified, ostracized, and dragged Ms. Thurman through the gutter because of what happened there are now going to vilify, ostracize, and criticize those folks here that cannot support this resolution. It's a shame. It's a shame that we take a position, or people take a position out there to serve their own personal agenda. And they do have their agenda. No matter how this turns out, I think we'll be criticized and we'll be ostracized again for what we have done or what we haven't done. And it'll be the same people out there who elect to criticize, ostracize, vilify, and drag those people through the gutter, whose main objective is to serve this city, not take it down and the residents that live here. We've come a long way in 11 years, come through a lot of battles here. We've not always agreed on what's been in front of us, but that's healthy debate. And that's what you call fair, competent, transparent, and honest government. We're all out here in the open. We're here to serve. I'm here to serve. But to see some of my compatriots here go through this public lynching for what has been done in the past, then decide to jump on the wagon to do just the opposite for a situation like this, I think it's disgraceful. I have no personal axe to grind with Councilman Longoria. Maybe a victim of the circumstances, but this is a city we're talking about. And we're trying to hold a city together, regardless and in spite of those who want to take us down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, forgive me, please. You go first.
Councilmember Hewitt.
Are we bending the rules, Ken? This is a provision that's in the statute. If that was triggered on Friday at 4:31, correct?
Right.
So
That's
we're
correct.
enforcing the rules.
This is
That
a
would be my
statutory
question. Do we
provision
have
that
any
is
other
authorized.
options?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make a comment very quickly. I view this obviously very, very different lens than you all do. The politics, I mean this with all the passion I can muster, do not mean a thing to me of the politics. And I will also say that to the extent this qualifying period is extended, it is a extended and reopened qualifying period for anybody who might wish to qualify, for anybody. For 2 days. I just want to give you the lay of the land procedurally, though. We have an assembled quorum right now. We have 6 individuals, 5 present, 1 on the line, 1 recused. Therefore, we have 6 in attendance, and a majority of those in attendance would be 4 that would need to vote in favor of this. So I hope that resonates with everyone what I'm talking about. A 3 vote in favor of this does not pass this resolution because that is not a majority of those in attendance. That is simply 3. I candidly don't know procedurally where that puts us if this does not pass. We have already advertised this reopening of the qualifying period because candidly Friday at 4 o'clock, I'm just telling you that's where I thought we would be because I believe this needs to occur to reopen this. I understand that symbolically and politically other issues are at play here, and I don't want to denigrate or get in the middle of those, but I am somewhat uncomfortable if this doesn't occur since we have already told and put on the website this is happening, and to give everyone the opportunity to fill this post from a qualifying perspective. So I just want you to hear from me on that. I understand your point. I think, though, that the city of Milton did play this one pretty close, straight down the middle. For instance, there was no exception made to allow a little 5-minute delay That wasn't allowed. That would have been improper. That wasn't allowed. So we had to go through this more elongated process. And again, obviously I sense there's bigger issues here. I mean, I'm not tone deaf. I get it. But with respect to this resolution, I'm telling you, this is what Georgia law provides. And I might urge us to, even if that's not what your heart is.
I'd like to ask
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Rick.
Ken, I'm having a hard time hearing. I think I caught most of that, but could you repeat and I don't know if you need to speak a little bit closer into the mic, but what the vote, how many votes we need to carry it, and could you also tell us what happens if this does not pass? What does that force us into? Is this going to become a special election where there's additional cost to the city?
Right. So two answers to that. Number one, we have 6 members that are assembled here. I believe I need 4 to pass it because simply, even though Councilmember Longoria is recused, he still makes up. There are 6 members in attendance. I need 4 to adopt this. Otherwise, I will not have had a majority of those assembled move to adopt it. And the next question is if it doesn't pass, I was actually discussing that with the clerk before the meeting. I'll need to consult with the Secretary of State. I'm not sure what occurs if it doesn't pass. And so I'll need to confer with the Secretary of State to find out what the next step is. Is it a special election? No. Or no, that's not fair. I don't know if it'd be a special election. I can't believe that would be what would occur. But folks, at some point, if this doesn't occur for us to start qualifying in 6 minutes, then I'm sure the response is going to be, we'll need to open up another qualifying period at some other time. I mean, at some point, there has to be a period where people qualify if the seat is vacant.
Okay. Yeah, I guess my follow-up comment is my only concern, if this does not pass, is that we don't cause additional dollars to be spent by the city in some form of other election. But what I hear you say is we're going to have to keep bringing this up and having some type of a qualifying period in order to fill a vacant seat, at least have someone to run it for that. Is that correct?
That's what I believe will occur. I mean, the statute doesn't address what happens if this doesn't get passed. And again, it says in the statute, the governing authority of the municipality shall be authorized. The city manager and the city clerk and I really debated whether I needed to even bring this to you, but I believe the literal language on the page suggests this occurs. Folks, we even debated whether to do this by ratification, go ahead and have it reopened and then just do it by ratification. And now I'm glad I didn't do that. I did not realize this would be as controversial as it is.
Ken, let me ask a question based on some comments. Number one, Councilmember Lusk referred to this as possibly bending the rules. In my opinion, this is an open and transparent. It's advertised a meeting. We're discussing it, and you looks to me like you're following the rules to the T. Would that be correct?
I believe the rules are being followed.
Okay. And the only other comment I want to make about some public comment is, and I'm not sure why we're bringing in other issues into this discussion with public comment, but I just want to clarify in a previous issue that we were not all, I know myself, involved in the decision. All of us found out about it at a certain point, but I know for myself, I found out about it late into the decision, so I was not involved in the decision, but that's just to clarify that. Bill, I think you had.
A question for you and for Councilman Morig. We've been in this situation before where he's phoned in on a meeting like this, and he's had a hard time listening. I'd like to know what, if any of this discussion he's heard, and if he hasn't heard the whole discussion, I'd bring up the point that he's not involved in this meeting.
Councilman Moore,
to answer, if that's a question directed right at me, Bill.
Yes, sir.
What I would say is I've heard the majority of the conversation. It's been a little bit muffled at time. I've heard Councilman Koontz impassioned comments about what's been going on within the city, and that he wants people that will come forward, that will serve as he serves, as we expect the police and other folks to serve. I did hear and understand your comments, and I do agree with the comments about what has happened to one of our existing council persons who isn't present today and the way she's been treated publicly. And I know that goes into politics, not necessarily just voting, and that's been a disturbing thing to watch and see in the way people treated her after her service. So I've heard, I believe, Councilman Lusk, I've heard the majority of the conversation. It's just been a little bit muffled. I'm strained to listen and hear. But as far as the gist of the comments on council, I believe it was Councilman Hewitt made the clarification, asked our legal counsel on what's involved in this, and that's I think the gist of what I've heard. So I don't feel like I am absent of hearing the main conversation and the concerns, and I feel that I'm qualified to still place my vote at the end of this discussion when we close it.
Councilmember Morrig, did you hear the responses to the two questions that you asked me? Did you hear those responses?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Yes, I did.
Bill?
Just wanted to clarify, Rick. I know there's been issues in the past, and wasn't challenging you. Just wanted to clarify the point.
And Rick,
The one thing I would say is I believe this is rare that we have to call in. I believe I've called in maybe in all my term of service, I've called in maybe 2 times. This is, I think, something now that we're in a new city hall. We need to take a look at, let's test this system before we have another meeting, find out why we don't have as clear acoustics as what we can have with other conference calls, just so that we don't have an issue if one of us does have to call in. But I do feel at least I've caught the gist of it. It just has been, I'm just telling you on that, and I've already communicated with our IT director. It's just been challenging to try to hear, and I know this is the first time we've had a call in, so that's more just something I think we need to address going forward.
okay, Rick, this is Joe Lockwood. Are you obviously just want to make sure you're clear on the agenda item? You feel confident you're clear on the discussion as well as Ken's comments?
Yes, just to restate the item as I understand it, I have read the agenda. I did receive that when everybody else did. I read my email, looked at it, looked at the notice, and understand what we're voting on is to reopen for District 3, Post 1, reopen the qualifying period starting at 9 o'clock today, and that will close at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Okay. And we hope during that period of time we have someone that does in fact qualify, so that, and if not, then Ken's going to check on what's the procedure to go forward. But the vote is to basically reopen the qualifying period specifically and only for District 3, Post 1. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Anybody else?
Okay.
Matt?
Again, I'm going to say that our country, our state, and our city are now having a battle along cultural lines. You know, Dwight Eisenhower, when he was president, said that a people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. This is simply a principle decision. If I vote yes on this, then I'm doing a disservice to every police officer we have, to every fireman we have, to people that show up to get their work done every day on behalf of the citizens of Milton. This is a cultural issue. If we look at it from a profit perspective for the city, on this particular case, we've already lost. This is about values. This is about virtue. This is about effort. And this is also about standing up for what's right, making the proactive effort to stand up for what's right. It's hard to make these statements, and some people say, oh, we shouldn't have a cultural council member. Every single person has to make a decision about what they believe when they come to work on behalf of the 37,000 residents here. You know, at Notre Dame, it was interesting. There was a guy named Chris Zorich. Didn't play much as a nose tackle, but during a bowl game, he was sobbing during the bowl game. And Lou Holtz said, you know what, I want people that play with passion to be on this team. People who don't take time off, people who don't just show up. You know, the team of the city of Milton, 37,000 people, demands this. We all sacrifice something here, and every single one of us has. But this is disappointing. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Good.
Brick, go ahead.
Yeah, if I could just ask, Matt, I understand your comments about culture and about passion. I guess I'd ask a question to you. What do you suggest? What did you have in mind? How do we remedy this process short of what is in the statute and what we're trying to do today?
The bottom line is if we vote no on this, there will be another election. We might have people that have an agenda that want to come. If Councilman Longoria wants to run and be someone with passion on this council, then I think he should make that effort then.
Okay,
I guess what I'm asking is procedurally, what did you see as an option?
There could be a lot of things as it is. I'll leave it up to the city staff, the Secretary of State, and Sudi Gordon, who are very well capable, who show up every day to make these decisions and give us good advice. I will follow their advice as far as what they say, but I will not compromise my principles on this issue.
Okay. Anything else? I'd like to make a comment, too. I have no reason to believe this was nothing more than an accident or this wasn't intentional. Contrary to some of the public comments, and I believe this is a good example on how we handle things. When something, either a mistake's made or we have an issue like this, then we bring it forward, we advertise it, and we discuss it in public comment. And I believe we're doing the right thing, the only thing. I'll wait till Ken gets through for a second.
Please.
My point is, do we really have any other option? Obviously, we can't elect as a body to have an absent seat.
Correct.
And again, so, again, my point is, I believe whether we agree with what happened or not, again, I'm sure Councilmember Longoria can't speak right now, but is probably kicking himself more than we are. So again, we're handling it in the public. We're discussing it. We're trying to follow proper procedure and follow the law. So again, I'm like anybody else. I'm not glad to be here on a Monday morning at 8:30, but it's for the overall good of the city. I think we're doing it, and I believe we're doing it the right way. Correct, Ken?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I mean, this is the statutory mechanism for reopening qualifying when there is a district post seat that is no candidate is qualified for. If this doesn't go through right now with hopefully 4 votes in favor, then I told you the truth. I'm going to have to go confer with the Secretary of State because the statute doesn't directly address it head on. But I suspect what I'm going to hear is try again.
Correct.
I mean, the language is clear in the law. It opens this morning at 5 minutes ago. And it closes Tuesday at 5. There's no wiggle room. It doesn't anticipate that you would do anything but this. My apologies for being late. I anticipated that this, just like I assume Ken did, that this was going to be a formality. I had no intention of actually attending this meeting. I had another meeting. But this is going to put us in a bit of a quandary if this doesn't go through. I'm not asking you to vote in any direction, but the law just doesn't anticipate you do anything different.
Well, that's not the fault of those who vote no.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to assume if it does not pass, then we'll have to make some other arrangements and try again.
Well, we'll have to, because we've advertised for this qualifying period to begin already. I mean, because candidly, folks, I just have to tell you, when we were confronted with this at Friday, we did the best we could with what we had, and we thought more notice to potential candidates was better than less.
Correct.
And letting the website reflect that over the weekend was better than it not reflecting it over the weekend, because otherwise, who would know what was happening Monday morning?
And I assume if it does not pass, anybody that comes in will have to reorganize, and if someone comes in to qualify, you'd have to make a decision, or we would not technically be open for candidates. Is that for qualification? Would that be?
That's, candidly, given the advice I have given, I have set this up for the council to pass upon this.
Right.
It could be debated whether the council had to pass upon this at all. It may be that the reference to the governing authority of the municipality was simply meaning that the government apparatus could put it on again. Okay. But the typical way that reads is that this government is supposed to sign off on this occurring again, which is why we've done it this way. Again, I did not realize this would be problematic.
Okay. Well, at this point, we have a motion and a second for approval. I believe the motion was from Councilmember Hewitt, second myself. I think Rick chimed in that, to second, but he was on delay. So if there's no more discussion, I'll put this up to a vote. Any other discussion, or Ken, any? Okay. All in favor, please say or raise your hand. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I believe that was 4 in favor. Sudi. Councilmember Lusk, myself, Councilmember Hewitt, and Councilmember Morrick on the phone. Okay. And again, is there any against?
Nay.
Okay, we have 1 against. Councilmember Coots with Councilmember Longoria abstaining. All right. So we have a decision there, and that would conclude this meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn this special call meeting.
Second.
Second. Councilmember, before we take a second, Councilmember Longoria, did you want to make a statement?
If that's okay, Mayor.
That's fine with me.
I just want to make sure, well, let me just start off by saying that I apologize to the citizens of Milton. I apologize to the staff of the city of Milton. I apologize to my fellow council members. If anybody thinks that this was part of some kind of an agenda, if it was part of some lack of passion, if it was part of some type of anything other than a stupid mistake on my part, then they're mistaken. And I don't think that it's beneficial for me to sit up here and try to provide you guys with any excuses. I don't think that's fair. The bottom line is I knew when qualification was taking place and I was unable to get here. That's through nobody's fault other than my own. And I take full responsibility for that. And I appreciate the feedback that I've gotten from my fellow council members while you guys discussed this motion. But I do want to make sure you understand this wasn't about me. This was about the city, and this was about ensuring that we have somebody in a place to govern for District 3 Post 1. And regardless of whether or not I qualified, this was something that we needed to have somebody qualify. And I'm sure somebody other than me will want to qualify. So I appreciate that you guys passed that. Again, I want to apologize for the problems that I've caused the city, the problems that I've caused anyone associated with the city. And if anybody, wants to discuss that in more detail with me, I'd be happy to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. All right, I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? That's unanimous, Sudi. Thank you all.